Goy slop is essentially material or food that is designed to lead you as far away from being excellent as possible. So, for example, going and eating McDonald's and then going home and watching Love Island. Peak Goy slop experience. You have food that makes you infertile and you go watch other people have dysfunctional relationships while learning to be a cluck. Like, right, that's literally the definition of Goy slop. And now you are weaker physically and mentally because of it. This is Goy slop.
They got scared because what they knew is anybody with a simple piece of common sense understands that if the McDonald's burger is trash, then all of them are trash. So what did they do? Went into damage mode, went into damage control. What did they do? Come on here. Oh, I'll eat my burger. Look. And they eating them and making it seem like it's so good. But I'm telling you now, these people and their families don't eat this stuff. They only give it to you. And you're going to see all of these different CEOs coming out eating their burgers as if we got a different product from the McDonald's. I'm here to tell you, if you believe that the stuff down at the Burger King ain't the same as the stuff down there at the McDonald's, then God bless your soul. God bless your soul. Now, let me tell you something about the universe and the Most High and the angels. They put the information out for you to see it, and then they walk away from it. You do with the information as you please. We wondering why the cancer's so high in our neighborhoods, and we got the most McDonald's and churches and Popeyes in our neighborhood.
So at a Detroit McDonald's plant where they process the food, the FBI raided the plant this morning, and they found dozens and dozens and dozens of human remains in boxes sitting right inside of the gates of the plant. They had somebody tip them off, and I guess they've been watching this plant for quite some time, so they decided to raid them this morning. And long story short, they found a bunch of the factory workers in head-to-toe gear with the proper saws and equipment to continue grinding and chopping up these remains. And I have no words. I have no words. McDonald's is a disgrace. I don't know how they're not shut down permanently. You have a local restaurant that scores a 70 on their health score for forgetting to put the mop back, and it's a big deal. You have people literally being chopped up and processed into your burger meat, guys. Share this story out. This is fucking disgusting. And if you don't believe me, just Google Detroit McDonald's factory human remains. It'll pop up. This is fucking disgusting. I am saddened by this country in every way. Every day I wake up and it's just, I want to throw up. It's like, what the hell are we even living for anymore? You know? And me personally, I truly believe that even though the FBI raided them, I think our government is 110% behind this. I'm disgusted. I'm disgusted. Disgusted. Let me know your thoughts, people. Let's share this out, please. Let's get the word out. Let's close McDonald's down for good.
It looks like they are still there. So let me see if I can find somebody to talk to. In there. Good morning. Just asking what it's for. A lot of people are like scared, not knowing what's going on. Oh, perfect. It's a practice run, and they're going to be handing out food if you're in the Dallas Oak Cliff area.
In you go, boys.
Homeless population, a lot of them don't want to take the programs. A lot of them don't want to get the help that is necessary. You can't give them a choice.
We got everything. Warm beds, square meals, homeless women.
Either you take the resources that we're going to give you, or you decide that you're going to be locked up in jail. That's the way it has to be now.
Or involuntary lethal injection,
Yep.
or something. Just kill them. Just kill them.
Yep.
I got a bad feeling about this, Blue.
Get in there.
I'm going to sit down here with Jake, who's got his dog Bubba. Jake, who is homeless.
Jake, you've found yourself some shelter here. Why are you outside during this entire hurricane?
Well, I chose not to go inside yesterday because the Salvation Army and Russian Winds homeless shelter where they were accepting people were caught killing everybody that was in there.
I'm sorry. All right. Okay. All right. So clearly you're homeless, and there are some challenges that you face.
Someone from the Middle East, how do the repercussions of American actions look to the rest of the world right now?
Yeah.
To the rest of the world, America's like devil.
Huh.
Wow.
I'm not saying the people, not the general people. I will tell you why.
Go ahead.
Very simple.
Go ahead.
Every time you want, you know what they do. Every time you guys want to give freedom to another country, you kill thousands of people over there.
Right.
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. The only country you want to give freedom, they have oil. Now, rather than that, nothing.
Yes,
You guys pay lots of taxes. I know that, like tax money, you pay a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It's going for who? Also, there is one idea. You guys can't do anything, even if you vote.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I want to show you something, and because I know what you're thinking. I know what you're probably thinking right now. You're thinking, oh, sure, Rick Sanchez, of course. What you're probably talking about is one of those obscure state laws, like the one they have in Alaska that says if you accidentally kill a moose, you have to eat it. That's actually a law in Alaska, by the way. There's one in Georgia that says it's illegal to sleep on a boat for more than 30 days. True. No, we're not talking about an obscure law. What we're talking about is an Israeli loyalty oath law that is becoming so common in the United States, it's now pervasive. Take a look at the map. You see the red states? See all of those red states? 26 states have enacted this loyalty oath legislation. And let me show you the other one, the navy blue ones. The blue ones you see there? That's where this law is now pending. So 26 acted on, passed, 13 pending, only 11 states, the light blue ones you see there, the baby blue or the light blue, those are the ones where you can boycott Israel and, criticize Israel if you want. Again, look, it bears repeating. There is no such law keeping you from denouncing or boycotting the United States of America, or even advocating causes that harm the U.S. economically. But there are laws from doing that against Israel.
Do you think Israel, forced the U.S.'s hand here, boxed the U.S. in on this?
Look, no one wants a nuclear war. No one wants a nuclear Israel, but we certainly don't want an endless war, plain and simple. What did I say? Oh, no. Got it. Let me say that again. No one wants an endless war, but we certainly don't want a nuclear Iran. That's for sure. Okay?
At what point does the lack
Yeah. He said no one wants war, no one wants a nuclear Israel, and no one wants endless whatever. Took 2 seconds. I'm like, what the fuck did I say? Came back. It's like, what did I say? Everyone starts laughing like, yeah, you should have never said that. Yes, no one wants a nuclear Israel. By the way, this guy, y'all know he's the uncle to Amy Schumer, the comedian. He's a New York senator from New York. He's the uncle of Amy Schumer. That's Chuck Schumer, the senator from New York.
24 hours. That's how long it took for Patreon to delete my account after I uploaded a video titled, I Exposed New Jersey's Jewish Invasion. No warning, no first strike, no option to take anything down. Patreon account gone, deleted overnight. Over the last few years, I've made videos about every group of people you can imagine. Somalis in Minneapolis, Haitians in Springfield, Ohio, corrupt Christian megachurches, Pakistani Muslim gangs in England, incest families in Appalachia, Indians throwing cow poop at each other, drug addicts, pimps, prostitutes, and not a single platform blinked. But the moment I made a video about a Hasidic Jewish community in in upstate New York that uses welfare to support families of up to 8 to 10 kids. Sponsors pulled out. Old sponsors even called me demanding that I cut out their sponsorship from videos that are 2 years old.
You're all schmucks. You're a schmuck.
Right now, we're about 100 years into the Jewish takeover of America. It is a problem. It is an issue. Right now, the Jewish community is in overdrive to divide the Christians and the Muslims. Right now, I had 100 Christians that are interested in saving their country. They may be misguided, or maybe not. But right now, we need everybody, all hands on board, and all hands on deck to save America. The Zionists are destroying our country.
Yes,
Israel is not the Jewish state.
This is not a Jewish state. It's a Zionist terrorist state.
It's a Zionist terrorist state.
Correct.
So why is it that they don't consider you? Look, a Jewish person is against that. Are you anti-Semitic?
Let me ask you, am I anti-Semitic?
Tell me, that's what they want to say. Anyone who's against them is anti-Semitic. You're a Jew. Yeah, you're against them.
But the difference between Judaism and Judaism is a religion, Zionism is nationalism. This has nothing to do with anti-Semitic. Jews lived in peace with the Palestinian people hundreds of years, and we lived in peace and we can still live in peace. It's only because Zionism is the philosophy of there's a political movement.
You can't make this up. Israeli soldiers are now taking their headshots with their face turned in order to hide their identity, because in the future they are starting to realize they're going to be charged for war crimes against humanity. And remember, if they didn't believe that they were committing war crimes, why are they now turning their heads in order to hide their identity? And also on IDF soldier patches, they're not even using their names anymore. And they have started covering their faces as they operate in Gaza.
So Hebrew translations were banned on Twitter because they don't want you to know the things that they are saying. Those people don't want you to understand they're saying things like erase Gaza in Hebrew. And so Twitter banned all Hebrew translations. Every other language, you can click see translation and see exactly what it says, except for Hebrew now. You put it into Google Translate and it says these wild things. And they just want to push their own agenda to their own people without us knowing. And we have to sit back and act like this is okay. I'm not standing for that. If you think that makes me an anti-Semite, sure, I'll happily be one, because we have to speak out against these things.
The NAACP, that was a Jewish organization.
Really?
That was, they had a black guy as a face, but it was funded and started and financed by all Jews.
Wow.
So it wasn't to help black people, because there was, they were counterbalancing. It was this Marcus Garvey, I can't remember the name of his organization. They didn't like him, so they started that. They got his ass deported to fucking, I forget what country where he was born. And he even says after the conviction, you damn Jews, it was Jews that got him sent back.
I bet you didn't know this. Watch this to the end.
I'm reading Tiny Hats Selling the Slaves. Oh yeah, they forgot to mention all of this in the Rockefeller schools. And people say that's not true. Well, you should read this one. This guy was a rabbi who wrote this one. And you know the term layaway? That came from when rabbis were selling slaves. Yes. And this has pages and pages of all the auctions and the rabbis selling the slaves. Check this, Jacob Cohen, okay, owned a plantation. Yes, all the plantations were ran by the Tiny Hats. 294 enslaved Africans. He was the president of the synagogue. You can just look this stuff up. And what got even deeper is I found Charleston, 1825. That was the original place of the slave marts. And they own the merchants, they own the ships, they own everything. And look at this, Charleston, Tiny Hat, slave traders. Now, since the Tiny Hats own all the newspapers, if they tried to run away, they'd put an ad up trying to get the slaves back. Then it got deeper when I found out that the Tiny Hats owned the police too. So if people tried to run away, they owned both sides. And it's wild because there was only 2 people who actually spoke up about this. That's why it's hidden from you. And also when Christopher Columbus came over here, now you understand who Christopher Columbus was. And this is why the Tiny Hats, the Charzarians, had been kicked out of all these countries. Now you start to understand.
Islam, Shalom, Hola, Aloha, Bonjour, Bonjour, Assalamu Alaikum, Konnichiwa, Jumbo. It's your brother Zach Bay, Indigenous American Moor, coming to you live in full effect. Like, share, subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell down below so you can be notified whenever I'm dropping some new content. Leave a comment, interact with me. Thank you. I really do appreciate your viewership, and special thanks to like the 5-6 subs who always watching my content all the way through. I really do appreciate that watch time. Let's jump into another one. Hopefully you enjoy those clips. at the beginning, and I might show some at the end to help drive my point home. But we back at it again. Another episode of strange events, current events. There's always a lot of things going on. There's just so much to keep up with. Honestly, it's like being pulled this way, being pulled that way. Attention is just being divided. It's just being dissected, honestly, and that's by design. So I don't want to overwhelm you with too many topics, but it's always a lot to be aware of. I'm not going to be able to cover everything that has been going on lately, but you know, it's always something wild, and I'm just here to maybe connect a few of the dots for you and let you know like how my train of thought is, and you know, continue to point you in the right direction so you can potentially, you know, protect yourself, protect your family, lead yourself and your family in the right direction, and you know, make the right calls when it comes to your safety, our safety, and you know, as a collective, right? So something I've noticed, something a little concerning. You may have seen some of these clips, you might not have seen these clips. It seems like there's a guy who's been making content going around inside of like Home Depots, Lowe's, hardware stores, and he's wearing a body cam and stuff, or he's wearing he might be wearing the Ray-Ban or the Meta glasses or whatever. So a lot of these people may not know that they're being recorded, right? He's talking to older European, you know, so-called white gentlemen. He's asking them odd questions, like calmly. He's like, hey, do you think this is big enough to fit a body in? Do you think I can use this to get rid of a body? You know, stuff like that, calmly. And these guys are candidly answering his questions. Very, very odd, very, very suspicious. Like these guys know exactly how to get rid of a body, exactly where to dispose of bodies. Check out this content. Very, very concerning stuff. Definitely not to be played around with, you know. It's always people going missing. One guy was even telling him like up by a lake where he can like dispose of one, you know, not just the proper materials that you can wrap a body in and stuff like that. Like the guy's calmly asking questions like this, but it seems like he's saying it in a joking manner, but these guys are giving him dead serious answers. Check it out. You might be able to find some of this stuff online. Very, very concerning when you think about how many people go missing, right? For some reason, a lot of those guys were giving me KKK vibes, to tell you the truth. You know, I'm not even going to BS you, but be aware, be aware. And there's also been kind of like viral. There's one guy who does these pranks where he's like, he'll have a buddy like tied up, duct taped up, whatever, behind like a dumpster or whatever, and he'll go get random people and be like, hey, help me move this body. A lot of the people would run away, you know, being scared and stuff like that. And it's kind of like, you know, fun and games, a joke. There was one guy who was doing this. It wasn't the same gentleman who was doing this joke. He had a guy in his trunk, and he was saying, hey, I need help moving this out of my trunk or whatever. He asked the European guy, so-called white guy, at like a grocery store or hardware store or something. It was like, it seemed like he was one of those guys who just moves carts, or he helps people load groceries or something. The dude didn't bat an eye when he opened up a trunk and seen a person there just duct taped, seemingly unconscious. The dude literally helped him move it, didn't blink or nothing. Didn't seem like he was confused or anything. Very, very odd stuff. Be aware of this. All right, something else that has been blowing up on the social media is about these ticks, all right? These bioengineered ticks, these GMO ticks, allegedly created by William Gates, Bill Gates, you know, Kill Bill. But they say hunters, farmers are finding boxes of ticks being released on their land, on their property, in the woods and stuff like that. There's been reports of a lot of large animals being found covered in thousands of ticks. Moose, mostly. I've seen videos of moose just covered, blanketed, carpeted in ticks. And, you know, the creature is just, you know, expired. Very, 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 very concerning. They say, so watch out this summer if you're out there camping, if you're in the woods, if you're hiking or anything like that. They say it's a lone star tick is the one that's been bioengineered to spread this new disease that makes you allergic to red meat. All right. It says these ticks were engineered exactly like the ticks with Lyme disease were engineered back in, I believe, back in the 60s by the government. But there's been reports coming out, you know how there's declassifications, I believe 50 years the government does. So after 50 years, files are declassified. So it has come to light that the Lyme disease and the tick spreading Lyme disease was actually a government project, right? So it's pretty much the same exact thing with the Lone Star ticks spreading this red meat disease, being allergic to red meat, so you can no longer eat red meat. So just be aware of the Lone Star tick. Is like a dark brown tick with a white dot on it. All right, be aware, be aware. But more so to the main topic that I wanted to do with this video, I know you might have heard about that deed theft thing. I spoke about it in my last video. The deed theft that has been going on in NYC. There's been a lot more positive news with that. Some people are continuing the good fight. Some people were released from being arrested, apprehended, stuff like that. Legislation was passed, emergency legislation. So I believe the mayor passed some stuff to help people get help immediately going through this deed fraud stuff. So thank goodness the internet really helped to put a spotlight up on it, and the people in that community and the neighborhood really did a great job at banding together and not letting, you know, this fraud happen. So it's now like a nationwide alert that, you know, homes are being stolen, properties are being stolen, deeds are being stolen. This isn't new, fam. This stuff has been happening to our ancestors, and the indigenous people of America, the Moors of America, the freedmen. That land, that 40 acres and a mule, a lot of the properties, a lot of the farms that has been taken through this whole deed fraud thing, right? So the fact that it's just now getting a spotlight on it, and people are recognizing the main culprits of this deed fraud thing. People are recognizing exactly who it is, exactly what community is leading the charge in those egregious crimes, right? You know, but along with that, that's kind of like some good news. In the Washington, D.C. area, it seems like there's a curfew in the Capitol targeting melanated youth, it seems like. I want you to keep in mind how that deed fraud thing is mostly targeting melanated people, our elders, right, in the community. People who have been holding those properties for 40 plus, 50 plus years. And then this curfew in Washington, D.C. is targeting melanated youth. So it's like on one hand, they're targeting the elders, and on the other hand, they're targeting the youth. People are starting to be aware. Memory is not so short now. People are saying, hey, do you remember that meeting that they had? And they said the so-called black youth in America is the primary target, the major opposition or the major enemy of Israel, right? So the fact that they openly declared themselves our enemy, and then you see the trend of all these different things that are plaguing the nation, plaguing the community, properties being stolen, youth being targeted, all these cameras being put up, new laws being passed, the food, like people are putting two and two together and realizing exactly who is behind a lot of these insidious plots and plans and schemes, right? So don't forget, in Washington, D.C., there's allegedly a curfew in certain neighborhoods, at certain metro stations, and it only seems to be targeting melanated youth, so-called Black, Latino youth. And then there was a young Latino boy found hung at a police station in Washington, D.C., and there's so many cameras around there. People were in an uproar about it. A lot of people first thought it was a young brother, but it was a young Latino boy. Still very, very egregious. The fact that it happened in that location, all these cameras around, and it doesn't seem like answers were had, and it didn't really seem to make the major news networks, right? It's kind of weird, but it was streaming online. It was like trending. It was viral online. A lot of people were talking about it like last week. All right, keep moving along here. This AI technology is being used in a very, very insidious way. There has been reports that the government are acquiring a lot of the major AI companies, and the engineers who are behind the AI, a lot of them are backing out. A lot of them are refusing to sign these NDAs, saying that they're being asked to create AI technology that has the capability to execute U.S. civilians, and there's no oversight for it. Now, when I say execute, I mean completely annihilate, target, murder, pretty much, U.S. citizens or targets that are deemed undesirable, high threat. And this is all by a computer system, right? Now, I've been talking about this. There's been movies talking about this. Skynet, Terminator, The Matrix, like a oversight system, a computerized system, non-human intelligence overseeing the actions of people and pretty much being the judge, jury, and executioner, right? A lot of these people who are in the industry, a lot of these engineers are refusing to go along with these asks, all right? They're being asked, and a lot of time when the government asks you something, there might be a check attached to it, but a lot of times you really can't say no, right? Or you might be threatened in all ways, shapes, and forms, allegedly. So be aware of how this technology is being used, Palantir, who's behind collecting all this data, and then these data centers that are around, the DMV, Washington, D.C., Virginia, Maryland. This territory seems to be a hotspot, a hub for a lot of these data centers. And of course, that's where Langley, the CIA, FBI, a lot of these organizations, a lot of these agencies are stationed, of course, in Virginia, Washington, D.C. So, of course, it makes sense that a lot of these data centers where they're collecting all this information, facial recognition software, creating patterns, digital clones. Of course, it's all being had here in the Washington, D.C. area, Virginia, Maryland. It's like a hub, all right? So I don't want to make this video too long. On a lighter note, last but not least, don't forget to like, share, subscribe to my channel. And I want to mention this before I go. The CEO of Five Guys, all right, on a lighter note, had a big bonus because they had some type of buy one get one promotion, right? So they made great profits, record profits. The CEO came out and said, I'm going to give the bonus to the employees because, quote, I don't want anyone to shoot me in the back. So the fact that a lot of these CEOs are really getting the message that people are unhappy about not being paid a living wage. Warehouses have continued to go up in flames. And the fact that it's not on nationwide news that they're talking about how these fires keep happening. People aren't happy, fam. People aren't happy. It's like you're being squeezed. So like, share, subscribe. Let me know how I'm doing down below. Once again, this is your brother Zach Bay. Peace.
The government's been in bed with the entire telecommunications industry since the 40s. They've infected everything. You can get into your bank statements, computer files, email, listen to your phone calls. My wife's been saying that for years. Every wire, every airwave. The more technology you use, the easier it is for them to keep tabs on you. Conspiracy theorists of the world unite. No, it's more than a theory with me. I'm a former conspirer. Yeah, I used to work for the NSA. Fort Meade has 18 acres of mainframe computers underground. You're talking to your wife on the phone, you use the word bomb, president, Allah, and you have 100 keywords. Computer recognizes it, automatically records it, red flags it for analysis. That was 20 years ago. You know the Hubble telescope looks up the stars? They've got over 100 spy satellites looking down at us. That's classified. In the old days, we actually had to tap a wire into your phone line. Now calls bouncing off satellites, they snatch them right out of the air.
How many data centers are in Virginia at the current moment?
At least 20 by my house.
Crazy.
Dude,
crazy.
Maybe like 10, like 9, 10 maybe.
Probably not a lot. So like 10 and under maybe.
Yeah, I'm gonna say like 5 to 10.
Like 1,000?
Yeah, okay, yeah, you're actually pretty close. Again, there's 643 data centers.
Yeah.
Right, so 643 data centers times 100,000.
That's 64 million homes worth of electricity being used.
Wow. And that's all given the context that Virginia was just dubbed the data center capital of the world.
And there's probably not even 64 million homes in Virginia.
Yo, what the fuck is that movie that we seen when we was young, man? It was some fucking...
Yo, there's the same camera
that looked just
that
like
caught
that, man.
Acorn.
Yo, for them motherfuckers
that shit
that's
scans
from the 70s, man.
your car,
late 70s and 80s.
scans the people inside the car, see if you got a warrant. That's the same camera.
Robot, what's the name of that movie?
What's the name of that movie? That robot back
we
then?
used to see when we were kids, man. That looked just like that shit right there.
Just like that.
It had a body. It was a robot that had a body and a fucking
Two eyes like that.
And the neck was just like that. What the fuck is that shit? But
you from the 70s or the 80s, you know what I'm talking about,
like
bro.
That.
Improvement on your design. Cut the bugs out. Yes, and I am proud of you. You have removed your laser weapon, huh?
The same
weapon
shit.
Is to kill, disassemble, make dead. Unacceptable. You have made many modifications.
That's that same camera.
You have come a long
way
for the Defense Department prototype. You betcha. It's the all new
Acorn got caught.
Just look at these items.
Through that same
Increased memory,
camera.
500 megabytes online. I come with a utility.
Driving, that shit scanned the car, scanned the person inside, got a warrant.
If you act now, I'll throw in absolutely
And that
free
shit look like Johnny Five. I remember that fucking movie.
Flock isn't just a neighborhood camera. It's an automated license plate grid logging millions of vehicle passes a day. Timestamps, locations, movement patterns, basically a full motion trail on entire cities. Recently, a judge ruled that all Flock data is public record, meaning those logs, your routes, your routines, they can be requested, pulled, archived, and analyzed by basically anyone who knows the process. That's not a small privacy issue. That's mass-scale movement data basically exposed. This isn't about fear, it's about awareness. The surveillance layer around us is expanding fast, and most people don't even know it. It's not just about the camera, it's where they keep showing up. Retail parking lots, neighborhood entrances, parks, county lines, rural highways, fast food drive-thrus. It's different places, but the same system. And that's not random placement. Each location sits along a flow of movement point, where vehicles naturally pass through, slow down, or transition between areas. At each point, the system captures a short event-based record. Individually, those events don't mean much, but spread across different types of locations, they start to form coverage layers, entry points, exit points, transition corridors. So instead of thinking about one camera, think about how they're distributed, because the pattern isn't always what they are, it's where they are.
The ULEZ Blade Runners have announced that they will be expanding their group nationwide after Keir Starmer's government revealed that they would be putting facial recognition cameras on every street in the country across the UK. Keir Starmer, who said earlier in the week that it was necessary to have these cameras as Palantir's AI is telling us that 97% of British people are criminals, has since revealed that the rollout of the cameras will begin from early next year and will predominantly focus on black and ethnic minority areas as well as working class ones, as that's where most of the criminals are based, according to Louis Mosley, who's the head of Palantir UK. However, this announcement has been met with heavy criticism from the general public, with the controversial group the ULEZ Blade Runners announcing that they will be expanding their group nationwide to combat the cameras in every corner of the UK. One anonymous Blade Runner even told the press after it had been revealed that these cameras could point directly into people's homes that we shall destroy them in the cities, we shall destroy them in the towns, we shall destroy them in the villages and the hamlets. We shall fight with growing strength and growing confidence on our ladders. We shall defend our nation's faces from recognition, whatever the cost may be. We shall destroy them on the motorways, we shall destroy them on the high streets and the suburbs. We shall never surrender.
Because of what? When I run the registration, Laura shows suspended. United States Supreme Court says that when you run the registration as a police officer and it shows that they are suspended or not licensed, it is enough reasonable suspicion for a traffic stop. Once I walk up to the vehicle and I immediately notice that it's not the registered owner, I don't have to compel any ID for that driver. They're immediately free to go. Okay? All right, yep. All right, good one, man.
Guys, the FBI just dropped the get out of jail free card, so lock in. In news that every sentient being on the planet already fully understood, there are criminals out there without government authority, pretending to be criminals with government authority, and they're dressing up as your favorite three-letter agency that deals with immigration, and they're grabbing people off the streets, they're committing assaults, robberies, sexual batteries. You know, it's actually hard to tell the difference between the two people. But what this means for you, this means that if any masked individuals or groups tell you that they need to take you away, you can use any means to defend yourself from being taken by them. And when I mean any means, I mean any means. And if they try to prosecute you for protecting yourself, guess what? The FBI is going to be the best defense witness in your case. So guys, fight back. Fight back.